Hello, sweeties, my darlings, my babes. Hey, hi, hello there. I hope you're doing well. This is a general message, so take what resonates, leave the rest. Whenever you find it, it is the right time because it is timeless. Okay? And I will never reach out to you for personal readings because I'm not doing them right now, at least. And I wouldn't reach out to you like that anyway. Not like that. No cold calls from this gal. Okay? So please report those people. Let's get into it, shall we? The intention of this is a career reading. Let's start with the oracle type cards, the little archetype cards. Okay. What's up with the career shiz, huh? Career, clear messages that are aligned with only pure source. Career. Yeah, okay, say, like, excuse me. So when I came on right before this, I was more of like the intention of like why things aren't moving, or like if there's some fear around moving forward, that type of thing. And this is lovely that we're getting this. So we have bully in reverse. The shadow attribute is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So you may need to like move forward with somebody or yourself. I don't know, just take it as it resonates. And like maybe you're like, oh, well, I can't do this because that, or I keep running into idiots, or, you know, something like that. It's just like a big ass fear. Like there's a fear of something going wrong. You may have experienced a lot of bullying in career, like up until this point, and you're like, man, I just don't want to fucking deal with that again. There's like a fear around going back into a shitty environment again. Let's say you're surrounded by a bunch of like selfish, self-serving, step on everybody to look the best when it's like a team environment, and like everybody should be uplifted, and like there should be like a healthy amount of competition, but it's like very toxic. They're like stabbing people in the back, gossiping, like playing that gross like corporate chess shit. That's like all underhanded, behind your back shit, whenever like you should be in an environment that's like in your face, calling people out. Like if there is drama or anything, it's like solving it between the people, not just backstabbing and rumors and all of that stuff. So there's this fear around the bullying, or like people that are gonna hold you back, or like experiencing that again, just because it's like, and you may have actually changed jobs and were met with the same thing, but it's because that job wasn't the correct job, or like you were still in this like fear, so that attracted that exact thing that you were trying to avoid. So there needs to be a drop of fear, and that you are attracting the right things. Victim in reverse. Playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. I'm kind of getting that you have overworked and overgiven, and it was used because you always said yes, or whatever the fuck it was. And part of you had this like attachment to being able to bitch about that or complain about that. And maybe this is somebody that you're also like supposed to go in business with, but they're like afraid to pull the trigger. There's an attachment and an agreement to that, where it's like, oh, well, people just like step all over me. And no, it's because you don't have boundaries, or like you're afraid to make that boundary for fear of losing your job or it fucking with your money. There's like a lack mentality attached to setting a boundary when it comes to career. And I know it's like harsh for me to say, but sometimes you just need that. Like you need that tough love, and you're essentially addicted to playing the victim when in fact the problem is you're your own enemy here and you're not setting boundaries. And if you are at a job that if you set a boundary and say no and they fire you, then that wasn't meant to be anyway. I do see you getting rewarded for setting boundaries, and in fact, like that might, like, let's say you start as like entry level, so like you're a laborer or you're just some like desk jockey, you know, you're not really moving up the ladder very, like you're starting at the bottom of the totem pole. You setting boundaries and like letting your nuts hang will get you further and towards management, raises, that type of thing. Because if you're in the right environment and you, for one, have that positive attitude going into your next career move and actually make that move, you're going to be in a healthier environment where people see you for who the fuck you are. And if you let your nuts hang, like the right people with the big dicks too, like they're gonna be like, game recognizes game, what's up, dab it up, little dog, like let's see what you can do. And then you start getting like, you know, people become more attracted to you that are the right people, the people that are going to help you grow. If you're not in that environment, then you're not in the right fucking place. And you attracted that. So there's some fear that needs to be let go of so you can finally set yourself free. And it honestly might be you losing a job and being like, oh, thank God, finally, I'm free from that place. I've been scared to leave, but I needed this. So letting go of that fear and knowing that what is yours will never leave you, and in fact it will uplift you and put you in these moments. You might also be afraid of success now because you were so broken down and fearful with these fucking bullies and shit. We have Messiah, serving humanity with humility. There may also be a fear around, like, let's say the job that you're at right now that you may need to leave and you're not being able to like grow, and they didn't let you move up into management, or, you know, like whatever, like they just keep you where you're at and you stay there a while. Yeah, you're really good at what you do now. However, you're not being challenged. Yeah, you're really good at what you do now, but you're not learning anything. You're not being pushed into discomfort, which makes you grow. And so there's some fear around that. You're going to have to, with a new job, with somewhere new or starting your own business, you're going to be in discomfort. And that's where you grow. That's how you get better. I'm also hearing like a little kid. I have the window open. There's a little baby screaming and crying in the distance across the street somewhere. You may have dealt with a lot of crybabies and tantrums, and like those people got their way and actually moved up into management for like their toxic behavior. You were somehow playing the victim in those moments, and instead of leaving like you should have, you stayed there and just like pitied yourself and stayed like, oh well, this is shitty, like this is bullshit. Like instead of making moves towards happiness, you like stewed in this discomfort and unhappiness, like, or I'm trying to think of the word, dissatisfaction. You stewed in your dissatisfaction instead of making a move. It's like almost like this addiction to bitching about it. Like this is a harsh truth reading, so it's like, yo, if you want to like make your life fucking better, you got to go get it. If you want a better life, go get it. And it's like, you may just need to be called out on this. Like it was like this, you're not that type of person, but it's like this environment and being around these little whiny ass bitches like made you absorb some of that. And so now it's like you're the little kid playing the tantrum. You want to play the victim, all this stuff. But it is going to be uncomfortable because you still have that big dick energy, and you're going to be going into an environment where there's all of that. And that small dick energy is not going to be tolerated. So you're going to have to be on your game. It's going to be uncomfortable because you've gotten comfortable in this like complacency, mediocrity, victimhood, crybaby bullshit. But the next job you go to, whether it's your own entrepreneurial pursuits or the next career job place that you go to work, that shit's not going to be tolerated because you are manifesting this real ass shit. And you're going to be expected to stand in your big dick energy, but that comes with a lot of responsibility and having to stand 10 toes, take accountability. None of this crying and pointing fingers and all of this stuff that you were used to, where it's like you were the only big dick in this place before and they broke you down and they taught you some bad habits, and you're going to have to step out of that victimhood and be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll eat it, fuck off, yeah, I fucked up, I'll take accountability, my bad, y'all. I'll be better next time. I still know I'm the shit. Like, you know, it's just like, it's changing that mentality. You were that person before, but it's like this previous environment where they just like fucked you over and you had all this little me, like little whiny tantrum babies. Like, that gave you all that it absorbed into you. You absorbed that. You know, you become your environment if you aren't careful. And if you weren't conscious of it just yet because you needed some lessons, you needed to learn some shit. And so now it's time to check yourself and be like, ooh, I don't want to be what I just came from, because I was like not happy there and I knew that that wasn't me, but I did absorb some bad habits. Checking yourself on that. Father, talent for creating, supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. You literally have this. Now it's time to check your crybaby bullshit that you absorbed from this previous job or previous endeavor, whatever you had going on, journey in career. Check yourself, because see how the father is holding the child. You had some shitty, immature habits absorbed into you. Now it's time to check that and know that you are supposed to be this Messiah father, this leader, this guiding light, humility, humble work, you know, willing to do the little nitty gritty dirty stuff that's below your pay grade, but also putting in the extra work, because if you're that guiding light, you're going to see right away if you're in another environment where it's a bunch of bullshit, baby tantrum shits, and that this is no longer you. And you're also going to see if game recognizes game, you're going to get the results. You're going to, I'm seeing like litmus paper where they put like, you test if it's acid or base or whatever. You are that like reaction. You're like the litmus paper. You're going to be able to tell, like, you have that chemical within you that whoever you come in contact with, they're going to show their fucking hand. If some motherfucker comes up to you like, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I'm essentially better than you, like, you better come correct, like all this stuff. If they come at you with that small dick energy, you're going to know exactly what it is. And because you're the litmus paper, you're going to be able to see if it's acid or base, if it's good or bad or neutral. And, you know, just the same thing, if you go into somebody that's good and they're like, man, fuck yeah, I respect your grind, I see you hustling, I like that, like, hey, you know, I saw like maybe this might help, this has helped me, like the willingness to have humility of like, hey, can I learn that from you, but hey, I also have some advice for you, like, what do you think, take it or leave it, whatever, like allowing that growth to flow and uplifting each other, and that healthy competition of like, ooh yeah, that's the shit, I am really good at this, here's this, like, let's keep growing and being better. You're a and you'll know that you still had some fear and other stuff to undo if you do end up in another environment that is toxic and kind of like exactly what you left it. And I do get it's going to be like, because you left that environment but still had that like wound within you, that victimhood, that weird shit within you, like addicted to being the baby and, you know, like, oh, people fuck me over, it's bullshit, they're a bunch of like that whininess. And like, I'm not saying your work ethic was bad or your skills were bad, like you were still on game, but you were draining yourself because you wanted to prove some sort of thing, like you weren't putting boundaries up, and that was still like a lack mentality there. So if you do leave another environment into another work and it's like it's the same environment but like concentrated and a million times worse, that's how you know, like, you need to actually like finally break free from that lack mentality and that fear that you have of like, oh my god, I'm gonna be back into another bully situation. Checking yourself on that and be like, okay, all right, I'll leave this place, fuck it, like there's some lack mentality there, like maybe a friend got you that job, or like you would be letting someone down if you left that job, but you're meant to break past that fear of like, okay, well, if I burn this bridge, then this clearly isn't for me. This is like what I just left times 10,000. Like that I need to get out of this situation. So leaving that and finally realizing like, oh shit, I was doing the same cycle again. Checking yourself. The next one will be like, once you leave that and quit being on your lack mentality shit, a million times better. Like, and it's going to be harder because you're not going to be with all these underlings, these little small dick people, like little all head no and all balls no dick. Like you're going to be like, you're going to be around heavy hitters like Thor's hammer down there. Like you're going to be around people that match that energy. And it's going to be difficult and triggering because you've been so used to being around these little insecure like babies that you might have like a knee-jerk reaction to like one of them coming up and giving you advice. So it's like you got to check yourself and be like, okay, this person's just trying to help me. Like I'm past this. I'm not feeding into that energy anymore. I'm done with that. And people aren't going to lead you astray if you go into this positive mindset of like, I am leaving that lack mentality, that fear, all that shit behind. I'm going to set boundaries and say no if I need to. I'm not going to fear. Because if you go into this fearing that you're going to lose your job if you stand up for yourself and all this shit, like you're going to attract exactly that. And then these people are going to try and sabotage you and do all this shit. But if you go into it like, okay, I got to be humble. I got to be a guiding light and put yourself out there and be open to criticisms and sharing your knowledge with people without like being like, I don't want you to have this because you're just going to use it against me and steal my ideas. You got to get out of that, like, because you were in such a toxic, hateful, small dick environment that you created bad habits. And it's time to get past that and check that those things were not yours. It's just you were a product of your environment. Yeah, King of Cups in reverse. It's going to be difficult because you came out of such like disappointment. You may have had a boss that was like, this might resonate for you if you have like a boss that was like a Cancer or a Pisces or Scorpio. It's like they were really good at, they would get emotional and then like take it out on you and play these little games with you. But also like you may have just dealt with people that were like way in their emotions. They couldn't handle these waves. And so they would take it out on people and fuck with your livelihood and shit like that. Like really toxic shit. It's going to be hard to like trust, but this is going to be another level because if you can get past that and trust and keep your faith strong, you will be rewarded. And game will recognize game and they're going to be like, fuck yeah. All right, what's up? Let's see. I'm going to give you another challenge and let's see how you handle this. And I'm going to help you move up. I want to see you grow. It will be difficult because you haven't been challenged. People haven't wanted to see you grow in the past. So if people are giving you these hard things to do, your first initial reaction is like, oh my God, they're trying to hold me back again. Like it's going to be that trauma response instead of seeing it that people want you to succeed and they're going to keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And it's going to be really difficult to like break past that initial, like, oh my God, they're going to fuck me over. Like, it's like cringing, like waiting for like the flinch or like the bracing for the impact kind of thing. Two of Swords in reverse. But if you can get past that initial like fear, you will see it be like, oh my God, it's so much better here. It is harder work because you're surrounded by hardworking motherfuckers and that people are on your level. So you're going to be on your best game. You didn't have to be on your best game before. All you did was have to play the fucking victim and get fucked over. Like there was a whole different game that you were playing then, but now it's really just skill, effort, just caring, genuinely caring. I'm getting a lot of you may have been expected to have quantity over quality, and that's going to be reversed. So it's going to be really difficult to slow down and put that quality into it versus quantity but once you get past that fear of like, oh shit, I'm taking too long, oh, I'm going to get slapped. Once you get past that and then people start recognizing your game and they're like, damn, what's up? Oh, like you're going to see the reward for it, and it'll like soothe your nerves, like knowing that, okay, slow and high quality is better than just a bunch of bullshit. Like there's going to be an expectation of higher quality over quantity. Sun in reverse. The unfortunate thing is like, because the sun in reverse to me is like shining a spotlight on something you don't necessarily want to look at. And that's going to be like that yucky feeling of like, damn, I've been playing the victim in this situation. And it's also going to highlight some shit that you just don't know. And so it might be like, because you were so attacked on any sort of little slip up before, it's going to feel like, oh my God, here we fucking go again. But when they're pointing out your flaws or something you messed up on, it's constructive criticism, not an attack anymore. And so it's going to hit your ego at first because those people were just so awful before. But if you can check yourself and be like, this is constructive criticism, this is them trying to make me better. I'm not in that environment anymore. I'm not at that level like where they were just trying to like ruin me and like tear me down. This is them trying to make me better. Like it's going to be uncomfortable because there may be shit that you don't know, and that past shit, the past job endeavor that you were in, it made you defensive to anything because you had to constantly defend yourself because they used that shit against you. So it's like going back to like, oh, okay, I don't know this, and I don't need to get defensive. I just need to take it and learn from it. Damn, a Queen of Cups in reverse. So there may have been like two people that you worked with in the past that were basically on the same level. They used they were both emotionally immature, emotional terrorists. They had power, but they also had no control over their emotions. So they would like fuck with people's livelihood because they were feeling some type of way. And it's going to be really difficult not to like expect that everybody's like that. And also you absorbed some of that energy. So you need to check yourself when you're feeling some sort of attacked or criticized or whatever it is, like checking yourself and be like, oh, I don't want to be like them. Like you were shown exactly like what not to be. And unfortunately that did absorb into you because you were just around it so much, and just like checking yourself on that. And if you can do that and humble yourself and allow like people, it's like before that you were totally open to any constructive criticism. You were very open, but you went through this awful like space where people were just like at each other's throats because they were any sort of fault or mistake. Or I'm getting a lot of people avoided certain work because they would have made a mistake. And so like only certain people ran certain equipment or did certain jobs or were allowed certain access to things, because if they made any sort of mistake, it was like public lashing, like you were flogged, like horrible environment. Not any environment for growth. That is not conducive to growth. We have the 10 of Cups here. If you can swallow your pride and recognize that you absorbed some of that yucky energy from those people and you created some of those habits, and just be like, check yourself constantly. At first, it's going to be really fucking hard because you're going to think like, oh my God, I'm back in this. Like, why are all these people swaggering around? Like, what is this? Like, it's going to be really difficult not to have that first reaction that you absorb their shitty ass behavior. I'm not gonna lie. Being around that, like, you had to learn to survive in that environment, and it turned you into something that you're not. And that's not part of you. You need to check yourself. You need to realize that there is such thing as constructive criticism. People want to see you grow. People are going to see you for what it is, and you can let your work speak for itself. Also checking that you don't know everything, but also it's okay in this environment not to know things, and they're not going to like publicly flog you for it. So just it's going to be hard, I will say, because yeah, and we have the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck, but we need to leave those things behind. That did help you survive in that yucky, awful environment, but it is no longer needed, and that needs to be left at the fucking door with this next endeavor, because this will not serve you otherwise. And you're gonna have to be harsh with yourself and be like, don't be a fucking crybaby like those motherfuckers. Like, this is not me. I am not them. I am not a victim. I need to say no when I need to say no, and I am safe. I know who I am. I can learn things. I can come into this in a humble, open, receptive energy, and they're not going to take advantage of me. And it's going to be very difficult to come out of that because you had to be on edge, defensive, like you had to play the fucked up games just to survive there. And that selfishness of like holding back your information, not sharing ideas because they were stolen from you, that is not going to serve you anymore. And you just have to check that. Like, don't be selfish. Like, share your ideas. Make sure it's like public that you're sharing them, just to protect yourself still, just because that's going to give you that like safety of like, okay, I'm going to let people, they may criticize my ideas, but I'm going to let them see publicly in front of management and a couple coworkers or however it ends up being, or like your business partners, like several of them. So there's like multiple witnesses until you can finally feel safe and like feel like you're the litmus paper. I'm straight up. Like, you will get the appropriate reactions to give you the sign of what it is. And if you are back in that toxic environment times 20, then there's some undoing that needs to be done. For one, the lack mentality of leaving this job. Like I said, maybe somebody like vouched for you and you got this job when you weren't supposed to. And there's like a fear of like, oh, like they're gonna hate me if I quit this job, but I really fucking hate it here. You need to get over that. Yes, this person helped you out and you can say thank you, but be like, dude, I gotta move on. And if they're haters then and they're not understanding, then they had their own agenda and you were making them look good. I'm just being honest. They weren't being, if they're not going to be understanding, then they're not for you. They had their own agenda. And that was a lesson you needed to learn and needed to see in that person. But yeah, it's time to leave that shit behind. Share your information, like your ideas publicly, knowing that you're the litmus paper, knowing that you can come in with humility and receptiveness, and that's going to be accepted. You don't know everything and you don't have to be defensive about that. Just being honest, and game is going to recognize game. Anything else before we go? And the 10 of Cups is like, you're going to be rewarded greatly. It's going to be like your forever home if that's what you're looking for, or like it's just going to be happy and you're going to feel like a family there, wherever that is. If it's an entrepreneurial pursuit or whatever, like it's just going to be so much better. It's just a matter of getting over that yucky, awful stuff before. All right, and we have the 7 of Cups, knowing you have options. This is not just the end all be all. Even if it does feel good and you learn a lot and all of that shit, it's not an end all be all. Like, you always have, there's always something to be learned. There's options. Like, the world is your oyster, and you don't have to like be miserable just because like somebody vouched for you, or like you're afraid of losing this job and what people might say or think, or like fuck that. Like, life is not worth that. You have options, and it's time that you take your power back and recognize this. Yeah, and as soon as you do, we have the 4 of Wands to the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. It's going to feel like a shit ton of work at first, but then it's going to feel like your forever home, because we have the 10 of Cups with the 4 of Wands. It's going to, and that 7 of Cups is also associated with dreams coming true. So like your fantasy, whatever fantasy you have, whatever dream you have of what this is, this can be it. This can be your forever home, or just like somewhere where you have a good time. And it's not going to feel like work. Yeah, it's maybe exhausting and tired at first, because you have some mental shit blockages and programs that were injected into you in that past environment that need to be undone. But it's not, once you're done with that, it's not going to feel like work anymore. It's going to feel like a home, a family. Like this is my place. These are my people. And I'm very passionate and happy that people are pushing me to grow, pushing me to be better. It's like coming back home to yourself, and it's not going to feel like just waking up every day and just be like, oh, I don't want to go, like, or having like a fucking panic attack and throwing up on the way to work because you're so anxious. Like, it's not going to be that anymore. And we have the Five of Wands in reverse at the bottom of the deck. And I saw that little scorpion on the back of that girl's shirt. It's not going to be this like secretive, manipulative, little Hunger Games bullshit. Like, it's going to be just some real ass shit. And it's not going to be a fight just to survive anymore. Fuck yeah, babies. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Love you. Bye.